Greetings, CS1B students. It's the start of another semester, and we have some paperwork that we need to go over, and so I've prepared this video introduction for you so that you can review this material at your leisure. Let's start off with the syllabus. Now, as I'm sure all of you know, a class syllabus is kind of like a contract. It says what this course is all about, what your duties and responsibilities are, what I will provide for the course. This is a description for Introduction to Computer Science Part 2. This is the description that is filed in the official syllabus, which was approved by the Board of Trustees for this class. So this is the horse's mouth right over here in terms of what this class is all about. All of these topics that you see itemized under this class covers are all of the topics which were filed with the Board of Trustees as part of the official syllabus for this class. So this is what we're supposed to do and what we will be doing this semester. Now, I need for you to print this off. Then I need for you to read it and review it and keep it handy. Any kinds of questions should be answerable from this document. If not, let me know, because that means I should be revising this document for future classes. I've put some key points right on the front so that you can't miss them. For example, and most importantly, this is a positive attendance class. Attendance is mandatory. I will explain to you in a later presentation how I'll be documenting your attendance in this class. Just know that it's a district requirement, school requirement, department requirement that you be in attendance at this class. Also, personal electronic devices may not be used and are to be stowed out of sight while class is in session. I'll explain more about why that's important in this class. But it's important to me, it's important to your classmates, and it's important to you that we focus on what's going on in class. Now, a lot of hands-on work is done in this class, both in labs and as programming assignments. The most effective way for me to evaluate how you're doing with that work is for me to sit down with you one-on-one and do a code check on your work. This enables me to give you feedback, and it enables me to learn how you're approaching these problems. So it's almost like one-on-one tutoring. These code checks will be required for certain assignments, and these code checks must be done in the CS lab. Now, your final grade is going to be based on quizzes together with programming assignments and lab assignments, exams. I'll explain how that all totals up to constitute your final grade. Last key point, but certainly not the last important point. All work must be submitted on or prior to the due date, period. I cannot be accepting late work in this class. It becomes too complicated when students don't turn work in, they get behind schedule, and it impacts the entire class. So, please plan on having all of your assignments turned in on schedule, no exceptions. Don't even need to ask me. If you can't turn your work in, I can't accept it late. Okay, here's contact information for me. I'm a part-time faculty member, so office hours, we can meet before or after class. Saturdays before or after lab is the best time. Also, I will be tweeting out class updates, so you can follow me on Twitter, or you can follow #CS1B for informal class updates. Any kind of official announcement about the class, I'll send out a group email. Okay, there are some important dates here which you should take note of for adding, dropping, electing pass, no pass, etc. There is an official textbook for the class. I'm not requiring that you buy it. It's a very expensive textbook, and I'm hoping that you'll have all of the materials that you need with the class notes, study guides I'm preparing, etc., that you can make an A in this class without buying the textbook. But the textbook is excellent. Has a lot of material in there, good material, but we follow the class notes, the charts. And so the textbook, if you want to purchase it as a reference, that's advisable, but I'm not requiring that you do so. You have a lot of other materials. They'll be posted online. So more information about that. I've already talked about attendance. Here's an official breakdown of grading for this class. Notice that your assignments, your labs, and your quizzes together constitute 40% of your grade. Guess what? Assignments, labs, quizzes, easy to make 100% on all of those, because I'll be working with you on many of these. So do your best on assignments, labs, and quizzes to pull up your grade in case you don't do so well on exams or your final exam. All of you have the potential to easily pass this class. Be there for every class session. Do all of your assignments and your labs. Passing is virtually guaranteed. Okay, now coursework is broken down into assignments and labs and in-class exercises. So let me say, just to give you the big picture on this, that really this class is taught in three parts. There's the part that we do during the lecture sessions. We're meeting on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. You have your presentation charts. You have study guides, which I'm preparing. You have some supplementary exercises, etc. That presents to you the course content material so that you know what computer programming and C++ is all about. But you're not applying it. You apply it in the lab session, which is on Saturdays, and when you do your assignments. In labs, although the labs cover the same material as the lecture sessions, the labs are really a different curriculum. There's about 15 different labs. There's a certain flow to them. They depend on each other. They're built on each other, and so on. And this gives you an opportunity to apply what you've learned in lecture. But the assignments, 7 big assignments, they're kind of like doing 7 term papers. I know some students have spent a lot of time on these programming assignments. These are real programming assignments. I suggest that you put together all of these assignments into a portfolio, because that would be a great resource to present to a future employer. The assignments are really and truly where you become a programmer. You can come to class, sit through the class lectures and so on, maybe do okay on the class quizzes, and not be a very good programmer. But by the time you finish your 7 lab assignments, you will be a good programmer at the introductory level. I've already explained about late policy. I simply can't be accepting late work in this class. Okay, the rest of this is information which you need to have, but I don't think issues like disruptive classroom behavior and academic dishonesty are going to be issues for us. Your student learning outcomes for Introduction to Computer Science Part 2, CS1B, again, this is taken from the official curriculum, which has been presented and approved by the division and the school district's curriculum committees and the board. So this is our official learning outcomes. I know some of you will look at this and say, well, this is stuff that we probably should have done in CS1A. Yeah, but there are also things that we need to make sure we can do in CS1B. So these are your achievements in this class. And it should be noted, both under your student learning outcomes as well as at the very start when we talked about topics covered, that this is a class that teaches computer programming. It is not a C++ programming class. C++ is used as a programming language to teach computer programming. But fundamentally what you're learning in this class is computer programming. Okay, I'm going to move on now to talking about your class schedule. In addition to the class syllabus, please download and print your class schedule. I've come up with a schedule here that involves all of our formal meeting dates, reminders about class dates, important dates that you should be aware of, together with the topics and the assignments. Please expect that this may be tweaked just a little bit depending on circumstances, and if it's changed, I'll upload another copy and I'll make sure that you have an update on those changes. Now, the final form that I'm going to ask you to download, print out, and in this case submit it to me, is a brief student introductory form. Of course, everything that you put down here is voluntary, but it helps me out a lot if I know a little bit about your background and your educational goals. What do you plan to be doing in 5 years? What your experience is with computers and what your class goals are. You know, there's an awful lot of diversity in these classes. I've had students who have had very little computer experience in the past, but are taking the computer science introduction to programming class, CS1B, essentially to gain some knowledge of computer programming that they'll be applying outside of the computer field. On the other hand, I've had students who have been deeply involved with computers and want to be professional computer programmers. So knowing a little bit about that as we get started for the semester helps me tweak the course here and there to meet the needs of individual students.